Good morning. Good morning. It's a beautiful day in Bentry. I just can't help myself. But I love these fall days and cool. And thanks for coming today on this Saturday. It's a great fall day and a great fall presentation Miguel's going to give us today. And the volunteer fair is doing well, and we appreciate the volunteers and people signing up to do so. Before I get into the meeting today, Lyle and a couple others mentioned to me, I think we just maybe have a moment of silence for Jane Goodall, who passed away last week, who did so much with the chimpanzees and monkeys. So let's just give her 30 seconds of prayer from yourself. And bless her and her work and someone to continue. Amen. Amen. All right. We always start out with our mission because that's what drives us. That's what we have to focus on all the time. And I want us to always start with that. It's a privilege here, which includes the responsibility to care for the natural world around us. Therefore, Lake and Wildlife works always to preserve the natural beauty and wildlife of Bentry by encouraging BTCI and all residents to be good stewards of our natural resources. Our focus and mission is always to monitor, to educate, and to volunteer. Today, we'll welcome any new partners. We'll have Artie give us the board liaison report, the committee reports, the treasurer's report, and then Fall in Bentry by Miguel, and our volunteer fair at the end, which Deb White will announce and talk about, and we'll adjourn. Any newcomers today? Anyone that's here for the very first time? Oh, we're all veterans. Oh. I was kind of wondering if we put the volunteer fair in there, if we get extra people to come. Yeah, it's kind of a tricky balance, right? You know, we have to thank our volunteers that are right here. They do a lot of work. They do a lot to keep Bentry and Lake and Wildlife going. So I just want to thank you for all the work you've done and continue to do it. We'll bring in volunteers, and Lord willing, we'll bring them when we need them. And they always do. Okay, Artie.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. October is budget month for the board. So we're spending quite a bit of time going over the budget for 2026. So on October 14th, that's a Tuesday at 9 o'clock in this room, we're going to be talking about amenities. Now you're all invited, not just to attend and listen, but to participate. Then on October 21, we're going to talk about water, admin, operations, and public safety. And then the last meeting will be October 28th, and that's where we'll talk about capital. And that's where we're going to address lake dredging. So there's some options on dredging. We can go out and buy a dredger and start dredging, or we can invest over $1 million and dredge all the coves at once. Or we can do a combination of those two. We could spend $1 million, dredge the coves, and then a few years later, buy a dredger so that we never have to spend $1 million dredging the lake. So all of this will be taken up at the capital meeting for the board. And just to mention, if we're going to spend capital, admin can't spend capital without board approval, and Lake and Wildlife can't spend capital without board approval. You can make recommendations. So it's really up to the board to make a decision on capital. And that's a pretty heavy weight because this is a really important project, but that's what we're supposed to do. And then lastly, Sunday, October 12th, in here at 2 o'clock, we're going to have the Bent Tree annual meeting. Thanks.
Thank you, Artie. Appreciate all your help and support. Please remember those budget dates. They're really important, and the board does take input on those items. And I want to go quickly regarding the dredging. I want to talk because at the last Lake and Wildlife meeting, it was subject of dredging and this We Do piece of equipment, which is being considered. And at the end of the meeting, it was decided that myself, as co-chair, and Jim and the executive committee would come up with a motion that we would give to the board regarding the dredging and have the board address it. And so I want to give you an update on kind of where that went and what happened, because that was given to us as a charge. So on Monday, there was quite a meeting after this meeting, and a lot of discussion, a lot of passion about dredging and the We Do piece of equipment. And so as a group, as your executive committee, we came up with this motion, which we sent to the board. Lake and Wildlife, along with the request of the Bent Tree Foundation, who was together with us, in order to reduce silt in Lake Tamarack, recommends the Bent Tree Board of Directors reconsider the We Do equipment along with other dredging options and the 2024 and 25 dredging plan. We request the board include a silt reduction dredging plan and dollars to fund it in the 2026 budget. Lake and Wildlife will continue to be involved in the dredging committee and help BTCI develop that plan. This motion was passed unanimously by the executive committee and then sent to the board. We met with the board, myself, Colin, Kevin O'Brien, and Huff, and discussed the We Do piece of equipment with the board. And the board had questions and gave us some questions that we needed to answer. And then Kevin responded back on specifics about the We Do and what was the cost and how long it would take to dredge the 3 coves and so on and so forth. And the board has had a few questions back and forth. So we're still working through that. Kevin is answering most of the questions, and Huff and Colin and myself are part of watching that go through. So it's moving forward. The board's considering, as already said, a multitude of considerations, but they're all good. And then, as he mentioned, the board is going to discuss this on 10/28 at the capital expense, and that's a very important meeting. Very, very important. If you're concerned about dredging, which most of the people here in the community are, you want to be at that meeting and listen and see what they do. I think it's going to be very, very good. So that's where that's at, but I wanted to show you what this We Do piece of equipment is. A lot of people have talked about it. There's been discussion. This is the We Do Model 3012. They call it the silt sucker. As you can see, it's like a huge Sea-Doo, 7-8 feet long, about 4 or 5 feet wide, single operator, and it has a bar that'll come down and cut limbs and sticks and things like that. It has a bucket on the front you can scoop weeds and, big sticks and things with. It's run by a Cummins it's actually a Tomitsu diesel engine that powers it. And then the silt sucker has a 3-inch nozzle that goes down in and pulls the silt out and goes out. And then, of course, you'd have to have hose to go from there to a pump to get it on shore, and then on shore to another bag or whatever. So that is it's a unit that's made for small lakes and ponds, and it's the silt sucker. So that's what it is. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. Obviously, we'll be happy to answer questions on it, but this unit is what they were considering along with the other dredging options to be done. I will only mention that, and I was talking with Colin earlier, that I did further research just going back from my own sense and what was going on all the way back to 2002. when dredging was started again and kind of got the history of what the board did and what were the things they had to address and what were the issues in the 3 coves, what were the issues with the landowners, what were the issues on the actual dredging that was done. And I can tell you that the board at that time considered a lot of options, which I was not aware of. They considered dredging, they considered leasing the equipment, buying the equipment. They also considered having an outside contractor, or just, we would lease the equipment and do the dredging, and how they would finance it and how they did it and so on, and the concerns of the landowners and so on. So I thought that was very interesting. It's a very big parallel to what we're facing today. 23 years later, and they said it would last 25 years, and they're about right. We got about 5 to 7 at the most, and so we got to get this going. Just very interesting. So thank you for your concern and support. I just want to let you know where we were at that. I will go right back. Are there questions? I should ask if there's questions. Okay.
How much does that thing cost?
That piece of equipment with an additional hose and a pump on it's about $150,000.
A lot less than a building.
Yeah. It's something to consider.
There was a lady that posted on the Facebook page asking what would be done with the silt once it's out of the lake. I didn't know what the answer was.
There's options that are being considered. Once the silt is pumped up, you need another boat in between, and you need a pump and you need hose, and then you need to be 30 feet off the shoreline, and it has to be fenced and erosion proof, and it can go into big, huge plastic bags. And I'll just call them bags, or balloons. They're big plastic black bags, and it goes in there and it just fills them up, and you fill the next one up, and it has to sit there, and then it has to sit, and it slowly drains the water. And then what's left inside the bags is the silt itself, and then after a period of time you can open them, and then you can take it and then take it to an appropriate place that BTCI is considering options of where it would be taken. There is an option also that if a dredger comes, there is a unit that they take with 10 and 12 inch, not 3 inch, 10 and 12 inch. So they suck up the small sticks, everything goes out, and it goes into what I'll call a round roller. And if you've ever seen the TV shows where they're digging for gold and they're rolling all that rock through, and they're rolling it through in the small and in the big and the small, they actually have units where they'll pump it out, everything goes in there, and the water comes out, and of course you have to have a silt screen and all that for the water, but the pieces and particles actually get filtered, so you get your bigger rocks and sticks and things like that are pulled out, other things are pulled out, and then when it drops down on the ground in an area, then you can immediately move it. You don't have to wait because it's already filtered, and you can say, okay, rocks and sticks, they go here, but here's the good silt and the stuff that's not like mud, but it's even a little firmer than mud, but it could be moved without having problems, and so that's an option that they could do. And the third option is, as they did way back in 08, 09, they dug big holes. They dug a huge hole over where the boat storage area is. They moved all the boats and all the racks down to the campground, and they dug a huge hole, and they filled that hole, and then when it overflowed, they let it run more towards the beach. And then they also had a hole, as you know, at the beach, kind of to the right of where the bushy ball court is, back down in there. And they dumped and filled in there. And then, of course, at Mulligan, you pump it out and you put it into an area that was a common green area, and it stayed in that area. So that's the options. And there's places where you can take it. But once you let it sit for a while, then maybe you could add, pH, nitrogen, phosphate, whatever, roll it, make it something that's usable, and then put it somewhere else.
They consider just buying a used dump truck and dump that silt in the truck and haul it off on the water?
Yeah, that was part of the consideration that's in there. All you have to do is make sure, you can't take it raw, because then you'd have to have something in there so the water wouldn't run out. EPA says if it runs out, and you've got effluent that's coming out of a truck or vehicle from a silt, that you've got to treat those areas and roads. And that's a daily thing, because you can't let that run. You just can't let it run. That's the law. That's what the rule is. Well, 4 or 5 years ago, and even Ashley and others have checked with other areas around here, including Big Canoe, and Big Canoe did a dredge. And you probably saw it, they also did a dredge this summer in the lake, and they let the lake run down to nothing, but they used trucks and they had to run it out, and some of the people called and complained, and the EPA showed up and said, you can't do that. You gotta water that down every day, you can't let that run, it's gotta be watered down, so you just have to water it down, that's all. Larry?
I may have missed it. Is there can you rent a piece of equipment and then other people use it so you're not having to buy it?
Yeah, yeah. You can,
Cost
yeah,
prohibitive,
you
or-
can rent it. It's in the mix, I mean, it's $1,000 a day, $8,000 a day, depends how big the unit is. But then it's our liability too. That's another situation that's being considered heavily, because there is liability. I mean, we'll just leave it at that. Good questions. This is a big decision. This is big money, and your input is sure welcome. It's,
For anybody that hasn't heard, you might mention what some of the quotes were in the past, so in the millions, right? For another company to do it.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, millions, yeah. And at the time it was done, and some of you have been around here a lot longer than I have, but 08, 09, about the same amount in the three coves was pulled. At that time, it cost about $800,000 for an outside dredger. Choo-choo out of Chattanooga, came down here and dredged it out. At that time, it was about $25 to $30 a cubic yard. Now it's about 50 to 55. So, yeah.
How does this impact the homeowners in here from a financial standpoint? Is it homeowners association going to go to more, or how is this being looked at for monies to whatever's decided?
Yeah, various options, obviously. The first would be, as we set out in the 5-year plan, to put 200, 240, 200, 180, at least 200,000 a year for 4 or 5 years. And then as you accumulate that, you're able to do this cove because you got 300 grand. Okay, then you can do this cove. So you accumulate and you pay as you go. And that's what they did last time. They put it away, they saved it, and they paid for it when they got to it, so. Or, the things you don't want to do, you don't want to assess, an HOA, extra, charge over a year, or one-time charge. We can't go into debt, okay? There is a way to get emergency funds, but you still have to go into debt, right? So the board is considering all the options and what they could do and how they could do it, but Eldon?
Not long ago, we nationwide went on record, don't do any dredging until you fix the source of the silt. Has that been fixed? I don't see any silt barriers, anything.
Yeah.
So otherwise, we'd be just throwing money away.
Yeah, it's a constant, it's not totally fixed, no. There's work still to be done.
So we're back where we started.
Yeah, Coffee Cove is very good. Sally Doss is 80 to 90% there. But Mulligan, as you know, blew out, and so we have to go back in and use riprap to do that. To finish that, there's riprap that has to be put in over by the dam off of it's over there near the boat landing. And so anyway, that's also in the budget for the coming year. I put expense money in for that, all the riprap, as we tried to do it the inexpensive way and so on, and it worked pretty good, but at Mulligan, it went right down to bedrock. So now we can't put logs in, they'll be blow out. So anyway, it's 20 to 30 grand to do that. And then I also asked them to put another 100 grand, up to 200 for the dredging for the coming year. And that's the capital expense discussion. Yeah, but no, work to do. Yep.
In last meeting, I thought that it was mentioned that we already have the money
for that piece of machinery, and that we only have to hire 2 guys to run it. Isn't that what we said what you guys said at the last meeting?
Yeah,
So we already have the funds for the equipment,
yeah,
which is great.
yeah.
So, I mean, we're, ahead of the game, I would think, in that sense.
Yeah, there's about 175 set aside, and we just have, the hiring of the 2 people, a little extra equipment, and then figuring out where you're gonna put it, and the bags and so
I
on.
think it's good for everybody to know that.
Sure,
We weren't at the last meeting.
yes, thank you, yeah, big consideration. And that's that whole weight, and you all know, you've been here a long time, do you try to keep putting it aside, and then it gets detoured, and when it comes time, it's not there, or do you just spend the money even though it's not the best way or the fastest way over years, but you get into the dredging business and you really need to have extra people, obviously, and you have to have somebody that knows about dredging, is an expert that's used this or done this, to actually kind of run the crew. Just like you have a road crew, you got the water department, you really have to have, because it's what it is. But it saves the lake, that's what we want to do. Other questions? Thank you, appreciate it. Fundraising, we're going to go to the committee report now for October. Fundraising committee, Tamarack treasurers, obviously. Deb is here, but I'm not going to ask her to come up. Yep, there we go. Collections November 3rd through the 5th, sales the 8th and 9th. Donations like new holiday decor, kitchen tableware, Christmas, trees, books, toys, puzzles, accessories, sporting, camping, outdoor equipment. Saturday the 8th is a sale, 9 a.m. to 2. Sunday 11/9, 1:30 to 3. Shop the half price sale on Sunday. All above at Club Tamarack, right here, all 3 areas. And of course, Deb is always looking for volunteers too, so today at your tables you can sure sign up. Deb, is there anything you want to add?
I'm going to do a shameless pitch during the volunteer fair.
Okay, all right. KBTV, Andy.
KBTB, yes. On November 22nd at 9 in the morning, we're going to start our exterior decor, Christmas decorations. We really need your help. The more people, the quicker it's done. I provide the cocktails.
At 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. 9 a.m. I provide the cocktails, and hopefully some folks will bring some cookies of Christmas. And I provide the music. So you're going to have lots of holiday music and cocktails. But we decorate the mail center, the administration, the back gate, the new cottage. We're going to put up some garland and bows or wreaths. So we really need some help with the new area. We can also decorate the gazebo in the front if we have the manpower. And we hang Christmas lights on the mail center, and the BTCI folks will hang them on the admin, so it looks really nice. The idea is to have a Bavarian Christmas as you come in the front gate. That's where we're heading. Then we have our fall festival, fall planting, and I want to talk about that. It's going to be a little different. The Cove Road team and the team leader has decided they would like to not plant any fall color. That means pansies or any winter kind of thing in that bed. And they would like to follow, F-A-L-L-O-W, a new word I learned this morning, which means when a farmer does not plant for a season and lets the nutrients in the ground regenerate. So we're going to put nice brown mulch on the Cove Road entrance. We're going to do the same in the back entrance so that it's all together, it's symmetrical, and we will save some money for Lake and Wildlife instead of ordering a bunch of annuals that the deer eat. And then I heard from Dara today that the deer netting is now illegal, so I don't know how we could protect plants. So we're still working on that. So the plantings will be very minimal. We're going to do something, I guess, if I can put deer netting on the administration front. So that would look nice, but we'll see. But need your help on Christmas, November 22nd, and that's it. I'm going to now shamelessly do 2 more commercials. We sponsor, and it's through BTAC, but it really applies to you guys, the Lake and Wildlife, because it's at Sally Doss Nature Trail. We are at October 30th and October 31st. We're having 6 storytellers tell these wonderful stories about untold legends of Bent Tree. And there'll be 2 shows on Friday night and 2 shows on Saturday night and afternoon and night. I think there's 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock, both Friday and Saturday night. We need a little group of maybe 12 to 14 participants, and we walk the trail, stopping at 6 different sites, and we learn about all kind of cool things that happened. That might be scary, it might be truthful, it might not be truthful. But you'll have a blast. One of our leaders here, Mr. Miguel Rodriguez, is going to be one of the storytellers. All the stories are written by a literary author here in Bent Tree, Lynn Conrad, and so they're really cool. We had a great time last year. Now we've expanded it to 4 shows. It's $5.
Is the Thursday and Friday?
It's a Friday and a Saturday. Yeah, it's the night of the October 31st, Halloween. So it gives you guys something to do instead of trick or treating. Okay, that's it. Thanks. Thanks.
Good to see you back, Andy. Glad you're healthy and wealthy, and you can tell he's almost back to normal. I don't know what that is, but anyway, thank you. Thank you, Andy. Good, yeah, and thanks for partnering on that nature walk. I've done that, and boy, oh boy, it's a great experience, a lot of fun. I want to do that again. Okay, wildlife. Miguel, yes. You want to just give a little bit?
I'll be brief, but specific. The deer are changing colors. They are trying to eat as many acorns as they can, and they're trying to keep themselves safe. They're also going to come into what they call the rut, which is when the boys get very aggressive, and they're looking for females no matter what, where, how, they're going to get them. So that's with the deer. The bear are still eating their hearts out. They are really putting fat on. They must do that. They're not yet going into their winter mode, but they are into their fall mode, which is eat, eat, eat. That's it. And they are not discriminatory. They don't discriminate on what they eat. So watch out when you walk your dogs in the evenings. They could be there just keeping you company or something else. The geese. Eldon is going to help me getting 2 more waterfowl deterrent beacons that have worked very well in the past, trying to keep the geese away from the spillover and from the beach. And last but not least, on every Wednesday we publish a magazine, Wildlife Wednesdays, in which it has a section there about living with bears, living with wildlife. It is important not only that we read it, but we disseminate it. That I know that education there's going to be a certain percentage of failure, like happens in the classroom. Education is only partially good, but the more we bring it out there and disseminate it and share it, the better a chance we stand to have people understand what it's like to live here. Okay, that's all I have.
Great. Thank you, That's great. Lake and streams is kind of quick. We've already talked quite a bit about the dredging subject, so that's good. Want you to be informed on that and where we're going. As far as the fishery, I know the fish are back and running and all over. I know Huff has put an article out there in the fishing news on Neighbor and Facebook, and the lake has been brought back up. You know, it dropped because they had to run those new pipes over by the spillway. So they lowered the gate at the dam about 3.5 inches, which dropped at about 10, 11. And then they've closed it, which is good, it worked. And the water level's back up, so that's good. I will tell you that the stream monitoring, Mason and I did that last week, and my thanks always to Mason for his help. The water levels are very low, and there's very slow, low flow. You know, we are in a drought almost. There's going to be new numbers. It's been 2 months in Atlanta. 0.05 is the water in 2 months. That's all. And up here it's just as bad as you can see. It's low and slow. So pH levels are normal. Dissolved oxygen is fairly good. We're seeing a little bit of nitrates, a little bit of phosphates, and that's just because of the situation. But the what I call alkalinity, or the livability of the stream, is strong, 30, 40, 50, which is good. And I will tell you that, because the numbers went out, that Danny Day, as you know, does all the bacteria and E. coli checks on the streams and on the beach. And he runs his business, H2O for Life, and does the bacteria studies there. Bacteria level on Long Swamp coming in from the north was high. It's usually 30 to 40, it was 300. E. coli bacteria on Coffee Cove usually is 20 to 30, it was 250. So swimmability is 250. Now at the beach, it was like 20, 30, 40. So what's happened is that's coming in and it's just going right out. It's not hanging around the beach. It's not, thank God, I mean, we have a lot of flow. But because of that, we're going to do a secondary check based on those numbers and based on our Adopt a Stream member group, that we'll do another bacteria check in mid to late October. And then if it's still high, then we'll figure out, okay, what is it, where is it? And then go back up the stream to see if there's something that's dropping in. Andy?
Young Life Youth Camp was an issue a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Is someone going to check that out?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, though. Historical perspective is always good. Yeah, that's one of the first or second things we considered. I talked with Ashley and with Jim, who's got a good rapport with them, and said, hey, if it measures high the second time, we need to go over and talk, and then we have to do some sampling over there. So, yeah, just in case. Just need you to be aware. Habitat conservation.
Can I have 2 minutes?
Dara, you bet.
Okay, so I'll be back there. If anybody has any specific questions about the natural habitat areas or volunteering after the meeting. But I did want to mention, I'll be presenting in November, and the title of the presentation is going to be Dilemmas and Conundrums in Habitat Conservation. So things where we are getting, where you may feel like you're getting conflicting information. Leave the leaves. Remove the leaves. Down trees are good for bugs and bears. Down trees are fuel for wildfire. What's a person to do, right? So anything that you feel are messages that don't quite align, or I'm not sure how that sits beside this other advice I'm giving. Let me know. What are those questions that you have, or just things that feel inconsistent, or there's tension between various goals? Help me articulate those questions, and we're going to talk about them next month. Thanks.
Thanks, Darren. That'll be a great presentation. That's one to look forward to. Let's move on. Communications, I'll do that quickly. As you know, Miguel does Wednesdays and Fridays news, and it's very good, and we thank you for all the efforts you put in that and giving us the deadlines we have to meet. That's promoted a lot of good feedback, people talking, calls, emails. I want to recognize Jon, too, because Jon works hard to put this on YouTube. And it gets up, it takes a little time, but there's a lot of work to be done. And Jon, thank you so much. And also, the fact that it's getting good responses, 100, 200, 300, 400. If you didn't see his news flash that he put out there about we're losing the lake, I don't know if any of you saw that. That was great. It was a nice little news release. He'll do that now and then, which is great. And basically is the meeting that we had last week about dredging, about silt. So it was good. Within 3 days, there was 256 responses and readers. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So appreciate that, John. Project maintenance, trail signs, and the power lines. Jim, I know you handle that. Jim said he doesn't want to get up today. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So I got him introducing. I got him taking attendance. Megan couldn't make it today. Yeah, I appreciate it, Jim. My co-chair, yes. But he's got all the trail signs renewed, and he's got some extra money that's coming in, and we're redoing the signs, putting new names on them, and he's on top of it. So that's working well. And the power lines, as you know, that's just a constant maintenance. People watching people, making sure they're doing the job, and of course, counting the volunteer hours, which is huge. So the next item is the special events, which is our employee lunch and the holiday party. And Luann, come on up. One-arm bandit.
That's right. Don't mess with me though, because I'm still baby.
That's Luann.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm not supposed to be up here. It's supposed to be somebody new by now. So, but there's not somebody new yet. There's just people helping with certain things. So if you know anybody who might want to take on the role of special events, we still need somebody to take it on. We've got employee luncheon covered, and we've got the holiday party covered. So we've got it through the end of the year, but we really need to get somebody geared up to be ready for next year. I've got sign-up sheets in the back for the employee luncheon. You know, we have traditionally done the smoked pork butts, baked beans, macaroni cheese, coleslaw, that kind of stuff. We do it at the cottage. It is Wednesday, October 29th. We do a setup about 9 o'clock. Then we cook hot dogs outside as well. We serve when they're doing their lunchtime, which kind of is 11 to 11:30 to 1:30 in that time frame. So that event is all handled by us. We really get almost all the food donated because people are making all the different dishes. So it costs Lake and Wildlife hardly anything to put this luncheon on. So if you can sign up for some of the food, or if you want to smoke a pork butt, or you want to help set up or whatever, I've got sign-up sheets in the back. Then also remember, coming up soon, if you're starting to bake and freeze for the holidays or just want to think ahead, remember we'll have the bake sale for Tamarack Treasures. So we'll need baked goods for Tamarack Treasures as well. And then Beth and Jan are doing the holiday party. So it is Saturday, December 13th, and it'll be the regular, like, meal, drinks, holiday celebration type thing. And Andy will have to talk about the sing-along or whatever, too. So anyway, that will be, you want me to tell what the meals are?
Registration sheets are there.
Okay, so these sheets are over on the table for sign up for the holiday dinner already. Okay? All right, I'll be back there. I'll put one of these back there as well. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Luann. Yep, there's the holiday party. We're going to have just a holiday party this year. Sometimes it gets mixed with volunteer recognition and other things. We're probably going to do a little separate volunteer recognition, and it may be in January or February. We're working on that. Your leadership team is, so that's separate and can be acknowledged and done better, more, whatever. Okay, so that's the flyer, $15 a person, and more details to come. Adults only, December 13th. The financial summary, very quickly, I'll go back just to make sure I didn't skip. Volunteers, we're going to get to that, obviously. And Deb's going to talk in our group. Any little update on the trails, Mason? Yeah.
All the trails are open except for the Forever Memorial Trail. We had a conflict with that trail being run across one of the neighbors' properties, and the LAD people have approached the homeowner there to see if we can do a land swap with them. We haven't, it's under consideration with that family if they will be willing to do something along those lines so we can get that trail reopened. All the other trails are open. My wife and her sister and I all hiked the Chestnut Cove trails yesterday. The streams are a little low there, but the trails are open. No big downfalls on them. And I think everything else, all the other trails are in pretty good shape. We're going to be sprucing up the Sally Doss trails on October 25th, Saturday morning, for a couple hours, 2-3 hours at the most. Please come back to the back and sign up for that if you're interested in helping with that. We'll get it ready for Andy and his Untold Legends presentation. And as far as hiking club, the next hike is Kennesaw Mountain, October 15th. And even though the park's closed, we're still a go for that. So.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate all the work you're doing on those trails and getting ready for Andy's night out or two. Okay, I know I'm running a little late, but I think important subjects. Denise, our treasurer, put the slide together. She's been managing this money very well for us and for you. Balance first of the year is 18.7, revenues 20,942 to date, expenditures 21,995. Our balance right now as of 9/30 is 17,794. So we're in very good financial shape. We've gotten good revenues in. We've watched what we're spending. And of course, this fall we'll get more in, but we're being good managers of your money, and I appreciate it by all our members and our executive team to stay in there. Upcoming events, Habitat, DARA, and of course, December, Jim Pryor will be here. He and I have been in touch. He'll be going over the year, going over the 26 plans, and answering any questions you have about BTCI over this year or the coming year, or even in the past when he was here. Again, thank you for coming. We're not done yet, but if you can help or you can volunteer, you can email us always at bentrelw@gmail.com. We manage that email, and so any question you have, anything you want to volunteer for, please feel free to do so. Okay, so from here we go to fall and Miguel, and so I'm going to have Jim introduce Miguel because I know you don't know Miguel. He's kind of a quiet guy, you know, nobody really knows what's going on. So I thought I'd have Jim introduce and I'll get the presentation up. Thank you.
Remember the 20 bucks I gave
you. Lisa, did you find the pumpkin donuts?
No.
No. Okay. There weren't any. Okay. Maybe next time.
Maybe.